Vikir watches as the living shield, Decarabia, asks how Amdusias can emit the specific energy of the Marquis of Discord. Hearing this, Vikir is shocked, wondering if the demon really has that power. A giant face made of blue energy appears in the air. Decarabia confirms he feels the great power of the first corpse, Andrus, leader of the 9 demon lords. Amdusias angrily explains that because Vikir ruined their plans and hunted their kind, the remaining demon kings threw away their pride. The beast reveals they had to beg Andras to borrow his great powers. Clenching his fist, which glows with blue energy, Amdusias says that even a small part of Andras' power makes them incredibly strong, warning Vikir that he is now the prey. The fight instantly explodes into a fast brawl. Shockwaves tear through the arena as Vikir's red aura and Amdusias' blue lightning clash in heavy strikes. The demon's new speed and power quickly overwhelm the swordsman. Amdusias lands a hard punch to Vikir's face and follows it with a strong kick. Not giving Vikir time to recover, Amdusias leaps into the sky. Gathering blue energy in his raised fists, the monster glares down at his target. He then slams into the ground with great force, breaking the earth and creating a large crater. Using the explosion and debris as cover, Vikir moves through the destruction, silently appearing behind the giant demon. With his red eye glowing, Vikir channels his aura to prepare a desperate counterattack. He unleashes a wide slash of red energy, aiming to cut the demon while trying to dodge its long reach. However, the power gap is too wide. Evading the blade completely, Amdusias moves with incredible speed, reappearing behind Vikir, and mocking him for being too slow. The giant demon charges the glowing crystal on its head, preparing a huge attack while shouting the Night Hound's alias. With a brutal strike, Amdusias shoots a blast of blue energy that sends Vikir crashing into the stone ground, scattering debris. Standing over the destruction, Amdusias admits there are limits to how long he can use this borrowed power, but he confidently states his body is strong enough to easily destroy a swordmaster. In the rubble, a wounded Vikir coughs up blood. Floating nearby, Decarabia nervously asks why he didn't use the shield's barrier to block the attack. Despite his injuries, Vikir replies he is saving the shield for when he truly needs it, insisting he can handle the situation himself. Hearing this, Decarabia calls him a fool. Behind his mask, Vikir acknowledges the grim reality. Staring at his opponent, he silently admits he can barely keep up with the demon's strength, especially since this is only a small part of Andras's true power. Looming over the injured swordsman, Amdusias notices Vikir is still standing and mockingly praises him for being as stubborn as a roach. Refusing to back down, Vikir calmly says the demon is foolishly drunk on its new power, leaving Amdusias confused by the bold claim. Vikir reminds the monster of a fatal flaw. If Headmaster Winston dies or breaks their contract, Amdusias will disappear. He asks why the demon chose to separate from its human contractor during battle. Bleeding but resolute, Vikir challenges his opponent, asking if pure arrogance is stopping Amdusias from fully using his powers. Responding to Vikir, Amdusias acknowledges that the swordsman knows the Decarabia shield remains loyal to its master. The demon explains he left his human contractor alone because he trusts him. He clarifies he does not trust Winston as a human, but he trusts his terrible rage against the world. Amdusias reveals he gave his power to Winston because the headmaster truly wishes for the world's downfall. The glowing purple heart in Winston's chest is revealed to be the Tree of Falling, which is the trigger to fully activate the demon's powers. Vikir is caught off guard by this, sweating as he realizes the dangerous item is in Winston's hands. Flashing a cruel grin, Amdusias admits he set this up to watch humans destroy each other with his own eyes, claiming it would be a shame to miss the show. Meanwhile, Dolores stands frozen in horror as Vikir calls her name. She stares in disbelief at the mutated, crystal-covered man on the ground, asking if he is really her father. As her hand gently reaches for his face, her father's eyes widen in absolute terror. He scrambles backward across the floor, screaming in fear and begging not to be hit. He frantically promises to obey any command as Winston coldly watches from behind. Trembling and pleading for his life, the mutated man cowers. Dolores watches him with pity and horror, softly calling his name, Humbert. Suddenly, Humbert blurts out a confession, leaving Dolores surprised as he admits he is responsible for everything. In shame and fear, Humbert reveals his corruption. He confesses to illegally getting money from criminals and cultists to ruin the opposing faction. He also admits he manipulated the Quo Vadis family by impersonating the Pope. Humbert flashes a twisted smile, admitting he stayed silent even when he knew innocent children were disappearing from the orphanage. Crying and laughing, he screams that he caused all those terrible deeds while the blue crystals in his body begin to crackle and glow. Hearing about her father's corruption, Dolores is left terrified. Looming over the mutated man, Winston coldly asks Dolores if she heard her father's confession. With the purple demon heart pulsing in his chest, Winston asks her to think about how many innocent lives were lost because of her father's greed to control the family. Winston's glowing red eye narrows as he grimly states the sacrifices have not stopped yet. As Humbert screams in agony and the blue crystals crack with energy, Winston reveals the corrupted man is like the other criminals modified by Sadie, and he will explode soon. Meanwhile, Bianca, Sancho, and Piggy sprint across the ruined stadium, trying to escape. The massive amount of mana inside Humbert will cause a huge explosion. Nearby, one of the Baskerville triplets runs for his life carrying the young girl, Pomerian. The blast is so powerful it threatens to destroy the stadium and the surrounding region. Winston places his hand over the glowing purple heart, declaring that through this destruction, he will carry out his own twisted version of justice. As Humbert screams in pain, Winston poses a cruel question to Dolores. He asks if she can still forgive her father after what he did, challenging her belief by asking if a monster can be redeemed. Overwhelmed by these revelations, Dolores stands silent. She bows her head, her eyes hidden in shadows, unable to say a word in response. Breaking her silence, Dolores firmly answers Winston's test with a single denial. Winston is initially surprised, but quickly closes his eyes, assuming her rejection of her corrupted father is only natural. However, his eyes open in shock when Dolores continues speaking. Surrounded by a bright golden light, she reaches out to him with compassion. She softly says that while she doesn't know what past trauma caused him such pain, she believes that even in this hopeless situation, he still has a chance to change his path and make the right choice. With glowing eyes, Dolores clasps her hands in prayer and unleashes a massive dome of holy energy. She shields herself and her mutated father within the golden barrier, bravely shouting for Winston to run before the explosion. As the holy light washes over the battlefield, a spark of blue lightning flashes across Winston's vision. The divine energy triggers a deeply hidden memory. In it, he sees a desperate man shouting to run, while a blonde woman apologizes in tears. Clutching his face in confusion, Winston stumbles back, struggling to understand where these unfamiliar memories are coming from. Visibly shaken by the vision, Winston looks down in awe at Dolores, softly murmuring her name as she bravely protects her broken father. Dolores maintains her protective stance, keeping her hands over her mutated father as the blue crystals on his back crack and surge with unstable energy. Overwhelmed by the pain, Humbert collapses on the stone ground, crying that the pain is too much and begging to just explode to end his agony. Refusing to let him give up, Dolores commands him to hang on and fight through the suffering. She urges him to finally struggle, not for himself, but for everyone around him. She stands firmly beside him inside her golden barrier as he continues to groan helplessly. However, the unstable mana inside him reaches its breaking point. Humbert lets out a final scream as blinding beams of blue light erupt from his cracking crystals. Tears fill Dolores' eyes, and she looks on in terror, helplessly whispering a denial as the blue light begins to consume her. Watching from a distance, the Night Hound and Amducius instantly notice the surge of energy, looking toward the source of the blast. A huge explosion of white and blue light completely covers Dolores and Humbert, threatening to wipe them out. Just as the explosion peaks, a mysterious figure wearing dark shoes and using a walking cane calmly steps into the bright light. Dolores looks up in surprise at the sudden intervention. The newcomer is the Pope. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.